will just stop. And then it will start moving around and joining up with other objects that look very similar. And he has seen this over and over. He just recently, like over the past few months, and it's becoming so prominent. Other pilots are starting to share stories and talk about what they, and they're all seeing the same thing. But there's one thing that all of these sightings appear to have in common. And when we come back from this break, I'm going to dig into what that one thing is, the mystery of this one thing. And then, I want to tell you something else weird. I got a few things weird to tell you. You know me. I'm Joshua P. Warren. You're listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the final segment of this edition of Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I'm your host, Joshua P. Warren, and this pilot said that all of these new UFOs that he and other pilots are seeing seem to appear around the Big Dipper. Now, what does that mean? Well, I'm as fascinated by the cosmos as anybody, but I'm far from an astronomy expert. And I was like, well, okay, well, what could that mean? And so I did a little research, and again, I could be totally wrong, but my understanding is that when you're looking at the Big Dipper, you're kind of looking Vegas, and within walking distance, there is a bar. You want to walk somewhere. I don't know if you go to a bar and you have a drink, how you might not be burning all the calories you want, but it's working out your muscles and your joints, and that's all good. So I go, let's walk to this bar. So we go to this bar, and actually, you know what? I'm jumping ahead of myself, because here's what actually happened before that. That morning, I told Lauren, I feel really good. I'm having a good day. I think I'm going to do a giveaway today. So I got onto Twitter, and sometimes I just jump onto social media, just randomly give away stuff. And I got on there and I said, I'm going to give away $500 to the first person who sends me their PayPal information. Like, just like your email addresses. Again, that's not some proprietary thing. And so sure enough, boom, I got an email address, and that person got $500. And I do this from time to time. If you follow me on Twitter at Joshua P. Warren, you'll see what I mean. And of course, some people think, oh, that's got to be a scam. Well, it's not. I mean, you can ask the person who got the $500. But I felt so good that I did that day. I just gave that money away. And then after that is when I said to Lauren, let's take a walk. So we walk to this nearby bar. We go in there, we sit down to have a drink, and to reward ourselves for having made this walk. This is how much I dislike exercise. And of course, there's a gambling machine there, and I very rarely play Keno, which is where you pick numbers and then balls drop, and you're hoping that a ball will drop on the numbers you pick. And if enough of your numbers are hit by these balls, well, then you win X amount of dollars. And so I put a little money into this Keno machine. It wasn't much. And I'm sitting here wearing and I actually turned to Lauren and I said, I got the Electrum ring on. I wonder if that's going to be lucky. And I'm going to say in less than 10 minutes, I hit, how much you want to guess? $500. So that morning, I gave away $500. I go to this bar, feeling good to get some exercise, wearing the Electrum ring, and I won $500. I got my money back. That's another topic for another show, but you've heard me talk about how that if you have to give to receive, it ties into all of that. So right off the bat, I was like, I'm loving this ring. And so then later on, so I guess the next day I had a bunch of stuff I had to do. I had some deadlines. And then the day after that, I said to Lauren, you know what? That was awfully nice that the universe gave me my money back. But I'd like to go back to that bar and let's just see if I can win some more money just for me this time, just for me. And so we make that walk again, get more exercise. I sit down at a different machine this time, wearing the Electrum ring, and this time it happened even faster. Within 5 minutes, I had won $400 and cashed that out. Gave a very generous tip to the people who were there, and then I said, "This is so insane." That night, the Golden Knights were going to be playing a game here in Las Vegas. The Golden Knights are the local professional hockey team, and they've only been around. I think this is their 6th season. And that night, if they won the game, they were going to win the entire Stanley Cup. They were going to be the national champions, and which is pretty amazing. I don't know if anybody else has ever gone from beginner to Stanley Cup champions in 6 years. And I don't even follow sports that closely. But I said, you know what? I bet you tonight, I said, I've got this gold Electrum ring here. I bet you the Golden Knights are going to win tonight. I feel it. So I don't follow sports that closely, but I do have an app on my phone where if I want to, I can go and I can put a bet. So I went and I bet some money on the Golden Knights. And I kid you not, that evening, I wasn't even paying attention to the game. I was wearing the ring, and I think it was probably around like 8:45 p.m. I just felt this vibration, almost like a little earthquake or something had hit Las Vegas. And I was like, oh, I bet the Golden Knights just won the Stanley Cup. And sure enough, they did. So I won even more money. Okay, so look, I could keep telling you stories, but I guess what I'm getting at here is when I saw this thing, I fell in love with it. I've been wearing it pretty much ever since, but I still have not even had it that long. And already, I personally am feeling better, and I've had a lot of great fortune come to me. And Lauren and I have been videotaping this stuff as well, so that you can see that there's proof. I'll post some of this on social media. So here's what I did. I contacted this artisan, and I said, I know that each one of these is handmade, custom, blah blah blah. But I got this podcast, and how about I take 1 week and I just take orders from anybody who listens to me who wants one of these. We'll just do one batch for everybody at one time, and that way we're all getting the real. It's not fake. You know that you're getting a quality product. You're getting what I've been using. And he said, let's do it. So for 1 week, I'm going to be taking orders for one batch that I'm going to put in the order all at the same time, and then I'm going to send them all out at once. Get it in sometime in July of 2023. Go to this website that I put together. It is electrumring.com. ELECTRUM. Electrum Ring. That's RING. Electrumring.com. When you go there, you'll get the information here on how you'll actually see a picture of my fist wearing my ring. It'll tell you whether or not we're accepting orders, and then you can get this ring personally made for you. This is the real deal, and you enter your ring size, and it can be whatever size you want, as long as it's like either a whole size or a whole size and a half, like 8 or 8.5 or 9 or 9.5. So enter that, and just be a little patient, because I'm going to take 1 week to get all the orders in at once, and then this master artisan here in the USA is going to make everybody's ring, and you will be part of the very elite club at that point, because I cannot wait to see, once I have a group of us out there who are all working together wearing this same ring, and that we're talking about gold and silver, okay? Technically, this is a literal 14 karat gold ring made just for you. When we're all wearing these together, are we going to become more powerful collectively? We'll see. So that's it for now, and you may not hear about this ever again. Go to electrumring.com. When we come back from this break, a lot of you have heard about the story that some aliens landed in a backyard here in Las Vegas. And I mean, like 9 or 10 foot tall aliens, and people have been saying, Josh, what's going on? Well, I'll tell you my opinion when we come back. I am Joshua P. Warren, and you're listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. And I will be right back.
The best AI assistant isn't one that knows the whole world. It's one that knows your world. A custom assistant built on Watson X with IBM's Granite models can leverage your trusted data, be easily trained on your workflows, and integrate with your apps. It can be tuned to do just what you need, because the more AI knows about your world, the more it can help you do. Learn more at ibm.com/productivity. IBM, let's create.
This July 4th, celebrate freedom from spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with Anabay, the only machine-washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $699, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric that's built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through July 4th, get up to 60% off site-wide at washablesofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Declare independence from dirty, outdated furniture. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply.
For period protection you can put on and forget about, nothing beats Knix leak-proof underwear, North America's #1 leak-proof underwear brand. Let's face it, life can be unpredictable, but your leak-proof underwear shouldn't be. That's why millions of people choose Knix. For periods, for light leaks, for everyday freshness. Knix undies are super comfy, super absorbent, and made to handle whatever. Day 2 of your period? Covered. Your daily run? No problem. That big sneeze? You know the one. Yep, we've got you. And with styles like bikinis, boy shorts, thongs, and high-rise, plus sizes from extra small to 4XL, Knix makes it easy to find your perfect fit. Say goodbye to stress and leaks, and say hello to undies that work just as hard as you do, no matter the leak and level of protection you want at Knix.com, and use code FLOW15 for 15% off. That's KNIX.com, code FLOW15 for 15% off. Knix, for your leaks, for your life.
Welcome back to the final segment of this edition of Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I am your host, Joshua P. Warren, and it should not be a surprise that since I live here in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm recording this in June of 2023, people from all over the world have been contacting me saying, what do you think about this news story about a UFO crashing in the backyard of a Las Vegas residence and all of these like 8, 9, 10-foot aliens running around? This supposedly happened overnight, April 30th into May 1st of 2023. And if you listen to this show, I'm presuming that you know about this already. I immediately posted links to the story on my social media, on my Twitter and Facebook. It says, crashed Las Vegas UFO witness terrified by 8-foot creatures in his backyard, quote, 100% not human, end quote. George Knapp, a renowned journalist who has broken some of the biggest UFO-related stories, told Fox News Digital that he has spoken to the family over the last 4 weeks and, quote, did not detect a hint of a hoax, end quote. So just to recap for you, a, quote, tall, skinny alien creature with greenish color that was thought to be about 8 to 10 feet tall was reportedly hiding behind a forklift in Las Vegas in a family's backyard after a potential UFO crashed. Quote, I looked at it in the eyes and my body just froze like having sleep paralysis, a witness who did not give his name said in a YouTube video. He had a weird-looking face, big feet, and big shiny eyes and a big mouth. I can hear its loud, deep breathing, and its stomach kept moving. He would just stare at me, and seconds later, I could move again. So he called 911 just after midnight at 12:25 a.m. on May 1st and told the dispatcher that these creatures were in his backyard. Said they're not human, 100% they're not human. I swear to God, this is not a joke. It's actually real. One of the things that makes this interesting is that when the Las Vegas police followed up on the call, they looked at a different officer's body cam and they saw that just before p.m. There was, sure enough, a glowing green light that streaked across the sky in that area. And I've seen footage, maybe you have too. It looks very much like what astronomers would call a bolide. I did a whole story about this in the show Paranormal Paparazzi. It's an exceptionally bright but it can refer to any large crater forming body or one that explodes in the atmosphere. It creates a big fireball. And that's an interesting topic also, because there are certain times of the year when those appear around Earth. I think it's like February when we get most of them, and nobody knows why that is. A lot of people in this area saw this ball of fire in the sky. And then also, supposedly, when the officer got there to this house, there was what looked like a perfect circle in the backyard left behind by the aircraft. So you can go and you can read all these details for yourself if you'd like. But okay, so here's my opinion. Nobody knows what to think of this, because I mean, the people who said they saw the aliens, they sound like they're telling a legitimate story. And sure enough, it coincides with a real object similar to a bolide that fell right around that time in that area. So, I mean, it's all pretty synchronistic. But it's kind of like we haven't seen any footage. Everybody has cell phones these days. There's ring cams everywhere. There's security cams everywhere. Where's the footage of the aliens? Haven't seen it. So, that's the problem here. And so, George Knapp is on top of this. He's got the best access to the best scientists, and I'm sure he's doing what he can to analyze it. So, I don't really have an opinion on it, because I have not seen any evidence that there were aliens, and I haven't tried to contact the people there. Like I say, this is George's thing now. He's on top of it. But if the people who saw this want to be interviewed on the show, that's fine. I'm open. You can reach out to me. I'm easy to find. But as far as I'm concerned, nobody knows what to think about that. The next thing I want to try to squeeze in here, I got an email from a man who listens to the show, and I don't want to use his name because this is kind of a personal story. But he says, I have a lot of stories to tell you. He said, I have always seen auras, and I am a very vivid dreamer. And he talks about he just tells me about how his whole life he's had kind of paranormal experiences. He said, my wife and I lived in this house in Starkville, Missouri. I guess it's Missouri. That we rented, and had some strange things happen. He says, we sat outside and talked about all kinds of things, and for some reason the story had come up about me and my wife, how we moved into our bedroom and the living room to make more room for the kids. And I woke up one night with this big, large fellow pulling me out of the bed by my toe. I remember waking up in a daze, seeing this, and got straight out of bed, ran around the kitchen to the other room to find no one there. I looked everywhere. In the closet, under the beds, I knew there was someone there, but there was no one. I returned to bed that night only to have my wife wake me and tell me she felt like someone was standing by her bed. At this point, I had not told my wife about all the prior activities that had happened before, and proceeded to get up and look at everything and found nothing again. It was like looking for a ghost itself. And he said, I then talked to, I think he says, talked to a neighbor. This is kind of oddly written. He told me not to freak out because the house I lived in used to belong to an older man named Mr. Putt, and he used to stay there as a kid with his grandkids. And on the weekend, at night, Mr. Putt would come and grab them by the toe and pull them down the bed. Then he would chuckle and leave the room. He goes, Joshua, this had made me very nervous back then. And he says, there are all kinds of things that continue to happen around me and my wife that we cannot explain. There are electric fields that tend to blow light bulbs and mess up electrical things all around me over time. It is not instant, but it does happen around me more than other people. He says, I love your podcast, and I listen to it because I'm a truck driver and you help a lot of people. He said, maybe I've just got too much to handle, always open to suggestions, and gives me his phone number. I think what he's saying here is that he's looking for a way to maybe neutralize some of these experiences, to kind of, to get rid of them. That's my impression from his message. And so here is what I reiterate this every once in a while, because this podcast, I think you're listening to number 140 of this podcast, and on episode 11 of the show, going way back, beginning, I did an episode about how to prevent or create paranormal activity. And that confuses some people because when I did episode 11, there was a technical issue where somebody in the chain, because I produce the show at my studio here in Las Vegas, and then I send it over to Tom Danheiser's department in California, and then he sends it to some people in New York, and it goes through all these processes before it actually gets posted, and then it's got the final product with all the commercials and stuff. And so at somewhere in that process, it came the deadline for somebody just put something really generic like Josh was at it again, but actual name of that episode should be How to Prevent or Create Paranormal Activity. And in fact, if you want to hear the titles that I give, the descriptions that I give are meant for each one of these podcasts to have, go scroll through the list at strangethingshow.com, strangethingshow.com, and if you go, you can see more details about what each show is about, and that is where you should go and listen to episode 11, and there are different platforms where you can listen to it there, How to Prevent or Create Paranormal Activity, and that will give you my best advice. But thank you for that message, and thank you for listening, sir. All right, my friends, I hope you've enjoyed this show. Now, let's try to make it the best week ever. Take a deep breath. If you can't close your eyes, it's the good fortune tone. That's it for this edition of the show. Follow me on Twitter at Joshua P. Warren. Plus, visit joshuapwarren.com to sign up for my free e-newsletter to receive a free instant gift, and check out the cool stuff in the Curiosity Shop, all at joshuapwarren.com. I have a fun one lined up for you next time, I promise. So please tell all your friends to subscribe to this show and to always remember the golden rule. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for staying curious, and I will talk to you again soon. You've been listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network.
listening to the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. Make sure and check out all our shows on the iHeartRadio app or by going to iHeartRadio.com.
This July 4th, celebrate freedom from spills, stains, and overpriced furniture with Anabay, the only machine-washable sofa inside and out, where designer quality meets budget-friendly pricing. Sofas start at just $699, making it the perfect time to upgrade your space. Anabay's pet-friendly, stain-resistant, and interchangeable slipcovers are made with high-performance fabric that's built for real life. You'll love the cloud-like comfort of hypoallergenic, high-resilience foam that never needs fluffing, and a durable steel frame that stands the test of time. With modular pieces, you can rearrange anytime. It's a sofa that adapts to your life. Now through July 4th, get up to 60% off site-wide at washablesofas.com. Every order comes with a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. If you're not in love, send it back for a full refund. No return shipping, no restocking fees, every penny back. Declare independence from dirty, outdated furniture. Shop now at washablesofas.com. Offers are subject to change and certain restrictions may apply. You have a long list of things to deal with. Check dry eye symptoms off with Refresh Relieva PF Extra Lubricant Eye Drops, offering an advanced formula to soothe and hydrate your dry eyes. Refresh Relieva PF Extra includes moisture-locking technology that prevents further irritation and gives you lasting relief. You deserve relief from your dry eye symptoms, and your eyes deserve extra. Find Refresh online or in the eye drop section at all major retailers. FSA and HSA eligible.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at
This is an iHeart podcast.
Your business deploys AI pilots everywhere. But are they going anywhere? Or are they stuck in silos, exhausting resources, unable to scale? Maybe you don't need hundreds of AI pilots. You need a holistic strategy. IBM has 65,000 consultants with Gen AI expertise who can help you design and optimize AI solutions. So you're not just deploying AI, you're scaling it across your business. Learn more at ibm.com/consulting. IBM, let's create.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa Welcome Bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games, all for free.
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Woo-hoo!
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Welcome to the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. Now get ready for Strange Things with Joshua P. Warren.
The thoughts and opinions expressed by the host are thoughts and opinions only and do not necessarily reflect those of iHeartMedia, iHeartRadio, Coast to Coast AM, employees of Premier Networks or their sponsors and associates. You are encouraged to do the proper amount of research yourself, depending on the subject matter and your needs.
Exercises and weird experiments you can do at home, and a lot more on this edition of the show. What is instinct? From where does it come? I believe this is a profound question. How is behavioral info automatically passed along through physical matter, genes? Now let me repeat that. How is behavioral info automatically passed along through physical matter, genes? And what is the origin of this info? Does it mean that there is a God? That there is an intelligent design If not, well, what is the source of instinct? Because we toss that word around a lot. Well, why does an animal behave in a certain way? It's just instinct. Oh, okay, end of story. Just an instinct. Yeah, but we're talking about more or less a blob of cells here, with DNA. That scientists will say we put this under a microscope. It's a physical thing, and yet when it evolves and develops, it has this behavior. This is actually, I think this topic is so important that I'm almost intimidated to try to explore it, because I don't think I can do it accurately. So let's just start with the basics, shall we? Let's go to the internet and let's just read what the basic, like Wikipedia sort of standard definition is of what instinct even is. We'll start here. Instinct is the inherent inclination of a living organism towards a particular complex behavior containing both innate, that means inborn, and learned elements. That's kind of interesting. But it says the simplest instinctive behavior is a fixed action pattern, also known as a FAP, F-A-P, a fixed action pattern in which a very short to medium length sequence of actions without variation are carried out in response to a corresponding clearly defined stimulus. Now, don't worry, that if that didn't make perfect sense, it's a very clinical, way of looking at it. So it says any behavior is instinctive if it is performed without being based upon prior experience. That is, in the absence of learning, and is therefore an expression of innate biological factors. So, for example, sea turtles, newly hatched on a beach, will instinctively move toward the ocean. A marsupial climbs into its mother's pouch upon being born. Other examples include animal fighting, animal courtship behavior, internal escape functions, and the building of nests. Though an instinct is defined by its invariant innate characteristics, details of its performance can be changed by experience. So, for example, a dog can improve its listening skills by practice. Okay, so let me pause for a second. So what they're basically saying here is that a behavior is instinctive if it is performed without being based upon prior experience, the absence of learning. But an instinct can, however, be augmented with learning. So it can be changed, but that's kind of getting off on a bit of a tangent. Let's stick with the good old-fashioned pure definition of what we're talking about here, a behavior performed without being based upon prior experience or learning. Instincts are inborn, complex patterns of behavior that exist in most members of the species and should be distinguished from reflexes. So again, I'm going to pause here. An instinct is not the same thing as a reflex. They say a reflex is a simple response of an organism to a specific stimulus, such as the contraction of the pupil in response to bright light, or the movement of the lower leg when the knee is tapped. So a reflex is just sort of like one reaction that automatically happens based upon a stimulus, whereas an instinct deals with the complex behavior that occurs. The absence. Okay, I don't want to get too deep here because this is a podcast, but basically it says that we're not just talking about animals. However, most people do talk about animals when they talk about instincts, but instinctual behavior in humans also occurs, and we're going to get to that in a minute because I think that's especially interesting. How much of how you behave is based upon instinct and haven't even really thought about, and perhaps that you can modify. And this is almost like programming. You hear people talk about a human getting a download and being programmed. Well, that's kind of what we're talking about here. And it also makes you wonder, well, how far does this go? But let's take a look real quick at the origin of all this. There was a French scientist named Jean-Henri Fabre, who was born in 1823, died in 1915, said to be the first person to study small animals and insects, and he was looking for this thing called instinct, and I guess he was the one who was talking about the unconscious response to external conditions, and he concluded that a significant difference between humans and animals is that animals cannot reason. Now, that's what he said. I guess, we could go down this whole philosophical, what is reasoning? But I think you get the idea of what this guy was saying. He came to the conclusion after observing how insects and wild birds continued to repeat a certain behavior in response to a novel situation, and said that while these instinctive behaviors appeared complex, the insects and animals did not adjust their behavior despite it not helping them necessarily in a novel situation. So the following are some instinct and animal behaviors that Fabre observed and labeled instinctive because he said these do not involve reasoning. One is maternal instincts, the attraction to a mother figure. One is metamorphosis. We all change. It's not just caterpillars and butterflies. We all change. Mimicry, the tendency to copy something. Dead. Now that's interesting, isn't it? Because you can apply that to a lot of different scenarios. And yeah, it could be the possum playing dead, but you hear about people playing this thing called taxis. What is that? Organisms such as light or the presence of food. Okay. So anyway, so he kind of like got this whole line of scientific inquiry going on. And then there's a whole list of other scientists who came along and were trying to draw other conclusions. One scientist was talking about facial expressions, for example. One scientist concluded that it was interesting to look at the facial expressions of babies trying to avoid, and we're talking human babies, I think here, trying to avoid unpleasant emotions because there was something unpleasant in their mouth, like they didn't like the taste. And then, of course, scientists say, well, this is just a product of natural selection. Okay, fine, even if it is natural selection. What is the origin of this, and how is that thing passed along? We're almost up on our first break time here. And when we come back, I want to talk a little bit specifically about how that humans exhibit instinctual behavior and, what some examples of this are. And then, of course, we're going to dig, like I say, even deeper into this idea that maybe nothing that is a behavior that we all have in common can just spontaneously emerge. Maybe there is some intelligent source behind all of it, and maybe it's continuing to develop in all of us, and some people have more of it than others. Oh boy, maybe I've bitten off more than I can chew in this one. We'll see. But anyway, hey, I want you to know I am planning on doing a giveaway where I give away all kinds of cool free stuff very soon to subscribers of my free newsletter. If you want to be eligible, all you have to do is go to joshuapwarren.com, sign up for the free e-newsletter on the homepage, put your email address in there, and there's a little box, hit submit, and you will receive an automated email from me immediately with some free links to some cool online gifts that will help you start making your life magical. JoshuaPWarren.com. That's me. I'm Joshua P. Warren, and you're listening to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. And I will be right back.
Don't go anywhere. There's more Strange Things coming right up.
Your business deploys AI pilots, but are they going anywhere? Or are they stuck in silos, exhausting resources, unable to... Maybe you don't need hundreds of AI pilots. You need a holistic strategy. IBM has 65,000 consultants with Gen AI expertise who can help you design, integrate, and optimize AI solutions. So you're not just deploying AI, you're scaling it across your business. Learn more at IBM.com/consulting. IBM. Let's create.
Now I'd like to introduce you to Meaningful Beauty, the famed skincare brand created by iconic supermodel Cindy Crawford. It's your secret to absolutely gorgeous skin. Meaningful Beauty makes powerful and effective skincare simple, and it's loved by millions of women. It's formulated for all ages and all skin tones and types, and it's designed to work as a complete skincare system, leaving yours feeling soft, smooth, and nourished. I recommend starting with Cindy's full regimen, which contains all 5 of her best-selling products, including amazing youth-activating Melon Serum. This next-generation serum has the power of Melon Leaf stem cell technology. It's Melon Leaf stem cells encapsulated for freshness and released onto the skin to support a reduction in the appearance of wrinkles. With thousands of glowing 5-star reviews, why not give it a try? Subscribe today and you can get the amazing Meaningful Beauty system for just $49.95. That includes our introductory 5-piece system, free gifts, free shipping, and a 60-day money-back guarantee. All of that available at meaningfulbeauty.com.
The Coast to Coast AM mobile app is here and waiting for you right now. With the app, you can hear classic shows from the past 7 years, listen to the current live show, and get access to the Art Bell Vault where you can listen to uninterrupted audio. So head on over to the coasttocoastam.com website. We have a handy video guide to help you get the most out of your mobile app usage. All the info is waiting for you now at coasttocoastam.com. That's coasttocoastam.com.
The best AI assistant isn't one that knows the whole world. It's one that knows your world. A custom assistant built on Watson X with IBM's Granite models can leverage your trusted data, be easily trained on your workflows, and integrate with your apps. It can be tuned to do just what you need, because the more AI knows about your world, the more it can help you do. Learn more at ibm.com/productivity. IBM, let's create.
Thanks for listening. Keep it here on the iHeartRadio AM Paranormal Podcast Network.
Welcome back to Strange Things on the iHeartRadio and Coast to Coast AM Paranormal Podcast Network. I am your host, the Wizard of Weird, Joshua P. Warren, beaming into your wormhole brain from my studio in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, where every day is golden and every night is silver. Giadato Zume! And I'm talking about the mystery of instincts and the origin of instincts. Let's talk about instincts in human beings. According to officialdom here, one is congenital preparedness. Now, congenital means from birth. Congenital preparedness for developing fear of snakes and spiders was found in 6-month-old babies. Wow, isn't that intriguing? I don't want to, take the time to go into the study of that, but so you have an instinct in most cases to be afraid of snakes and spiders. Well, I got that instinct. I wonder if everybody gets it and some people overcome it, or if some people just don't have it. But that's intriguing. I can see why, because even though they may not be as dangerous as we think, there's something there. There's something telling us inside, stay away from that. Number 2 is the infant cry is believed to be a manifestation of instinct. The infant cannot otherwise protect itself for survival during its long period of maturation. Okay, number 3, the herd instinct is found in human children and chimpanzee infants. So that seems to be something that unfortunately sticks with most people for life. Don't you think? The herd instinct to just do what everybody else. I realize that in most cases that works for you, but with the advent of modern technology, maybe it's time for the instincts to change a little bit, because it's too easy to find a herd that's on the wrong track. But so then, here's another one. Hygiene behavior in humans was suggested to be partly instinctive, based on emotions such as disgust. Let's see. Next here we have the maternal bond. Next is self-preservation, and then fight or flight. Okay, I think we can all relate to fight or flight. Next we have cooperation. That has been considered a social instinct necessary for the future survival of people. This is interesting. How about resistance toward change is the difficulty experienced by a person when they are trying to push against the suggestions made to change behavior or accept treatments regardless of whether it will improve their condition or not. And then that's it kind of conflicts with this other instinct that humans have, adaptive behavior. Adaptive behavior to environment is an inherited, innate, phenotypic characteristic. Examples are mating, searching for food, situational awareness, establishing a pecking order, and vocalizations. And then, of course, again, we get back to the difference between, reflexes, but I don't want to, I've already explained what that is. All right. So where do these instincts come from? Well, before we get to that, let's ask ourselves this question. Is an instinct the same as an intuition? Because a lot of people who consider themselves to have psychic ability or something like that think of themselves having intuition. Well, let's look up intuition and see what that is. Here's the definition. Intuition is the ability to acquire knowledge without recourse to conscious reasoning or needing an explanation. Well, that sounds like the same thing, doesn't it? Different fields use the word intuition in very different ways, including, but not limited to, direct access to unconscious knowledge, unconscious cognition, gut feelings, inner sensing, inner insight to unconscious pattern recognition, and the ability to understand instinctively without need for conscious reasoning. But intuitive knowledge tends to be approximate. So whatever this thing called instinct or intuition is, it seems like that we all have it to some degree. And if we are always evolving, as even the most materialistic scientists say, well, then instincts should be constantly evolving as well. So is this where we get into the realm of psychic perception? And is this